Okay, for introduction, for ASEAN countries, the ASEAN Summit is a biannual meeting held by the members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations in relation to economic, political, security, and socio-cultural development of Southeast Asian countries. Okay, for this point, the summit has been praised by world leaders for its success in ability to produce results on a global level. Okay, for next point is the League of ASEAN is currently connected with other countries who aim to participate on the mission and vision on the league. Okay, the league conducts annual meeting with other countries in an organization collectively known as the Asian Dialogue Partners. Okay, ASEAN also have at three countries which are Chinese, Japan, and South Korea.
In my part, I will explain about Treaty of Amity and Cooperation, or we call as TAC. The background of the TAC is a peace treaty among Southeast Asian countries established by the founding member of the ASEAN itself. TAC was the first treaty signed by 5 leaders of the ASEAN member involved Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand in February 1976 at the first ASEAN Summit Meeting in Bali, Indonesia. Then after that, other 5 Asian countries, Brunei Darussalam, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia started joining TAC on 50 December 1987 until 1999. So, the AC formed to resolve the regional dispute by promote perpetual peace, everlasting amity, and cooperation. Next, I will explain about 6 fundamental principles of TAC. So, to maintain that peace, the member of TAC shall be guided by the fundamental principle. There are 6 fundamental principles of Treaty of Amity Cooperation that must be respected by all the members to avoid any violation occurs during agreement of TAC. So first fundamental principle is mutual respect for the independence, sovereignty, equality, territorial integrity, and national identity of all nations. So when all the Southeast Asian countries care about these things and respect it, action like political conflict, war, security flaws, operations can be avoided. Second fundamental principle is the right of every state to lead its national existence free from external interference, subversion, or coercion. This is because each Asian member state have already achieved independence in their own way, and each country has also been bound by their respective constitution, so there is no outside power can intervene. If there is also an outside power entering into the affairs of a country, it will destroy national unity and peace. Third fundamental principle of TAC is non-interference in one another's international or external affairs. Every country must be neutral. Neutral here means that the state of not supporting or helping either side in a conflict or disagreement, but a country has the right to safeguard the right of its citizens in a country that is in turbulent time. Fourth fundamental principle of TAC is settlement of differences or dispute by peaceful means. It means that if anything happen related with the politics or security community involving Asian country, each member has to share responsibility in resolving the problem to maintain peace and security of the region. So the way Asian country want to solve dispute in order to maintain the relationship with each other is by using a peaceful method, which is diplomacy method. Fifth point of fundamental principle of TAC is renunciation of the threat or use of force. This means that Asian countries reject or surrender to the use of weapons. In other words, members of ASEAN must disable all activities related to nuclear weapons, such as develop, manufacture, possesses nuclear weapons, station or transport nuclear weapons. So that's why ASEAN has introduced the Southeast Asia Nuclear Weapon Free Zone agreement. And the last point of fundamental principle of TAC is effective cooperation among themselves. It means that members of ASEAN should promote active cooperation like in economic, social, technical, scientific, and administrative areas, as well as in the common areas and aspiration of international peace and stability in the region and all other matters of mutual interest. For example, we can see the Asian Free Trade Area Agreement. It is a trade bloc agreement by ASEAN for supporting local trade.
Background of SUF as ASEAN Nuclear Weapon Free Zone. The meaning of the Southeast Asian Nuclear Weapon Free Zone date back to November 1971, when the 5 members of Association of Southeast Asian Nations signed a declaration on a zone of peace, freedom, and neutrality in Kuala Lumpur. The first component of ZOFAN undertaken by ASEAN was Bangkok Treaty established. After a decade of negotiating and drafting effort by the ASEAN Working Group on ZOFAN, the Southeast Asian Nuclear Weapon Free Zone, or other name of the Bangkok Treaty of 1995, is a nuclear weapon moratorium treaty between 10 Southeast Asian member states, which is Malaysia, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, Singapore, Myanmar, Brunei, Philippines, Cambodia. This concept and basis have been announced via the Kuala Lumpur Declaration at 27 November 1971. There are several factors that have led Southeast Asia to push for the existence of ZOFAN. The role of ASEAN countries in enforcing a nuclear-free zone is for the establishment of a nuclear weapon free zone in Southeast Asia, which began on 27 November 1971. However, this formation was not easy due to politics in less favorable area. Official plans for nuclear free zone were not made public until the mid-1918. The Bangkok Treaty was eventually signed by the head of government from 10 ASEAN member countries in Bangkok on December 1995. After an ASEAN working group on ZOFAN negotiated and wrote the manuscript, Bangkok Treaty Agreement is the obligation of countries in ASEAN not to develop, produce, own, purchase, or control nuclear weapon, test or use nuclear weapon in the Southeast Asia region.
I will present about the ASEAN Charter. The ASEAN Charter is a constituent instrument of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It was adopted at the 30 ASEAN Summit in November 2007. The intention to draft the Charter has been formally proposed at the 11th ASEAN Summit held in December 2005 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. During 11th ASEAN Summit on the 12th until 40 December 2005, the leader agreed to hold the ASEAN Summit twice every year starting from the 12th Summit in 2007. So the ASEAN Declaration states that the aim and purpose of the association are to accelerate the economic growth, social progress and cultural development in the region. The importance of establishment of ASEAN Charter is they wanted to improve the peaceful and stability and become more advanced in the technology to compete with the foreign country. The outcome from importance of ASEAN Charter is new political commitment at the top level, new and enhanced commitment, new legal framework, legal personality. Next, I will explain about the purpose and principle. The purpose from the establishment of ASEAN Charter is to enhance regional resiliency by promoting greater political, security, economic and social culture cooperation. Next, to promote an ASEAN identity through the fostering of greater awareness of the diverse culture and heritage of the region. Lastly, I will explain about the principle of ASEAN Charter. It is about the members should respect the element of the sovereignty, and independent state. The first principle is rejection of aggressive means in conflict resolution. Thus show the respect for fundamental human rights, freedom, social justice, and multilateral trade with upholding the international law. Also need to respect for the principle of territorial integrity, sovereignty, non-interference, and national identity of ASEAN member. Last but not least, be able to promoting regional peace and identity, peaceful settlement of dispute through dialogue and consultation, and renunciation of aggression.
Present about the ASEAN Declaration, which is a Bangkok Declaration. Bangkok Declaration or ASEAN Declaration can be known as multilateral agreement. But multilateral agreement consists by two or more countries in this agreement. This agreement was signed on 8 August 1967 at Bangkok and was created by ASEAN. Okay, declaration is one of outcome from 5th ASEAN Summit that be hosted by Bangkok and first ASEAN Summit for Vietnam. There are 5 regions that be consist in this agreement are Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. There are a few purpose of association of Bangkok Declaration. Okay, firstly, it is to promote achieve collaboration and mutual assistance on matters of common interest in terms of economic, social, and culture. For example, the world country was shocked by the incident of a submarine belonging to the Indonesia Army Nanggala 402 was missing on 21 April this year. So Malaysia is one of country that provide assistance to Indonesia Army, which is send the Royal Malaysian Navy RMN MV Megabati ship to the Indonesia. Okay, for the next purpose of association is to provide assistance to each other in the form of training and research facility in the education, professional, technical, and administration. For example, we can see Thailand. Okay, Thailand is a major of exporter in the world rice market. From this, Thailand can increase the economy in terms of agriculture. The last purpose of association is to promote regional peace and stability through having respect for justice and the rule of the law in the relationship among countries of the region. For example, we can see the issue between Malaysia and Philippines, which is about the North Borneo Sabah is the territorial dispute between Malaysia and Philippines.
I'm gonna share about case study that I will get for this topic. So the South China Sea is the small sea. It is part of the Pacific Ocean. It's covered to Strait of Singapore and Malacca to the Taiwan Strait, about 3.5 thousand kilometers, and it's located in the southern mainland and island of Taiwan, Philippines, Papua, West Sabah, Sarawak, and Brunei. Indonesia, it sees non-peninsula and Singapore, and it's Vietnam. The South China is very important because it is the sea route from Chinese, Japan, Korea, and America to the west, namely the Middle West, the Middle East, India, South China, Asia, and Africa. In ASEAN conflict and dispute in the South Chinese Sea have lasted long after China's claim to the group is island in the area where seems sparking tension in Southeast Asia. Territorial dispute in the South China Sea involve Iceland and maritime territorial claims over several sovereign countries in the region, namely Brunei, the People's Republic of China, the Republic of China, Taiwan, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. There are territorial dispute occurring on the island of Pericle and Spratly, as well as maritime territorial boundaries in the Gulf of Tonkin and elsewhere. The interest of the various countries covering the fishing territories around the two islands, the extraction of petroleum and natural gas under the water of various parts of the South China Sea, and the strategic handling of important shipping routes. The beginning of the South China Sea crisis and conflict was based on the struggle for small island, in which the South China Sea has a four island cluster, namely Pratas, Parakal, Malacalesfield, and Spratly. Of these four islands, only two islands were seized, namely Paraka and Spratly, which are claimed by six countries, namely Brunei, the Philippines, China, Vietnam, Taiwan, and also Malaysia. The 6-point scramble crisis occurred after Japan surrendered and left the Spratlys in World War II. All six ASEAN countries agreed to the Manila Declaration to avoid conflict in the region in 1992. Okay? And the agreement was extended until 2002. In 2005, China and the Philippines signed agreement to protect oil and gas in the region, but after several years, conflict emerged again because of naval hostility. To the end, all parties, especially the remaining countries, should cooperate and be more committed in maintaining peace, security, and stability, and continue to play an active role in assuring that the South China Sea remain peaceful.
Okay, for conclusion, based on all the points presented, we can conclude that ASEAN has important objectives and provide opportunities for cooperation between ASEAN countries. All this also very important to increase unity, cooperation and unity, and economic integration. The next point is ASEAN awareness and identity, and stress the importance of promoting ASEAN productivity. Moreover, socio-economic also impact of COVID-19 and the agency commitment to implement policy aimed at the convincing society that ASEAN at the forefront of this critical battle and future crisis. Okay, for lastly, Asian member states and continue to encourage collective efforts as ASEAN and its cooperation with other external partners in responding to COVID-19.